Dear friend, you can grow your personal and business brand by creating a strong network through podcasting. Create real human connections, have the ability to share your story and interesting point of view. To get started, you can make use of the special offer for friends of this podcast, which is on kitcaster.com/mirror. kitcaster.com/MIRROR. The link and further instruction or details will be found in the show notes for this episode. Thank you. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or whatever platform you listen to this on. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to Mirror Talk Podcast. Your moment of greatness starts now. Today's guest is a technology executive with over 25 years of experience providing leadership, development, and implementing strategic processes and deploying new products to streamlining services and improve growth in lead generation and sales in the fields of recruiting, finance, technology, marketing, and mortgage lending. He is the CEO of Boardsi, and he is a startup investor, an author, and a board of advisors member. Welcome to the show, Martin. How are you doing?
Thank you, Toby. I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Just staying busy and productive. How are you doing, Toby?
That's awesome. I'm doing good. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be speaking with you today, and I wanted to just ensure that I introduce you properly with all your amazing work that you've done so far. That's really impressive. It's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Mirror Talk. Can you tell me about yourself? Can you share the story of how you moved to the US from Poland without any command of English language?
Absolutely. It's in my book too, but I'll go over a little bit here. So obviously I lived in Poland, neighboring you. You're from Germany.
Yeah.
So not too far from you. I left Poland. My mom took me and just wanted a better life for me. So we left when I was about just a little bit. And I was 10 years old, but I wouldn't say 10 and a half, but getting close to that. And we traveled through actually Italy before getting to US. So we spent about 8 months in Italy, which was an awesome experience for me, coming from at that time, a communist country. And just getting to Italy was a rude awakening for me. And obviously getting from there to Poland was just from there to US was actually just yet another level of awakening, of seeing what's possible. All the things you watch on TV as a kid, on my little black and white TV in Poland, and all of a sudden it's all in full color right in front of me. And you heard about all the freedom and all the things that are so wonderful about US, and having the ability to come here was just a great opportunity. And my struggles were pretty real. I definitely came here with speaking no English at all. I did learn a little bit of Italian while being in Italy for 8 months, but I would call it a broken Italian, but that didn't even help me. It's not like I knew anybody when I came to US that spoke Italian. So my focus literally right off the bat was to learn the language. And the good thing is I was pretty good at math. And in Poland, we were a little bit ahead of the curve. So I didn't have to focus on math. So I just really focused first 2 years on learning the language. So eventually figured it out and was able to communicate. And here I am all these years later.
Yes. So if I may ask, at what age were you when you moved, when your mother took you to Italy then to the US?
Yeah, so I was around 10. So by the time I got into US, I think I just turned 11.
Oh, and how was it like for you integrating into the system, into a new culture in America? How was it like for you? A different language?
It was hard. It was actually really hard because in middle school, I don't think they're as hard in middle school. It's different, with social media. A lot of the bullying right now takes place on social media, obviously, but back then the bullying was in your face. And I got bullied. I got picked on. I got made fun of for not speaking the language. There was very few kids that, took pity on me and were uplifting. None of that really happened until high school. But by that time, I was really, the kind of walls went up and I was really shy. And I didn't really open up and became outgoing until I got to college, where actually having an accent was accepted and cool. College kids were like, "Oh, you're from another country. That's awesome." And they wanted to learn about it. They wanted to know about it. So, it kind of, what kind of closed me in actually became an asset to me, and it was awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah. And were there like some things that, helped you to pull through from the age of 11, from being bullied up to the time when you were in college, that you became accepted for your accent and everything?
Yeah. So I think, I never looked at it as a negative experience. I know it was a negative experience. I wasn't playing dumb or pretending it wasn't. But I just looked at it as a growth factor, what I can learn from it. I definitely didn't want to become a bully myself at any age or at any point in my life. We actually had a foreign exchange student in Poland. So I saw it from that side and actually became one of his closer friends. So I did struggle a little bit of not understanding why, I couldn't be accepted or anything like that. But you know what? It just became part of life. And as I later got accepted and, when I was in college, I joined a fraternity, made, brotherhood friends forever. It really opened up my eyes to, knowing that I was right, that, it was just a temporary experience that I had to go through and grow through. And I think, I look at it as a positive experience of just growth. It just was what it was.
Yeah, I like that. Like seeing the opportunity as a chance to grow, to learn, to expose yourself to new things.
Absolutely. And hey, I got a funny story for you. So I think it was on my first day of school. When we got to the country, obviously I packed up when I was 10. I had a growth spur. So obviously I got a lot taller. So my clothes didn't fit. So my mom picked up some jeans. And I didn't realize this. I wore the jeans to school. Come to find out they were chick jeans, which are jeans for girls.
Yeah.
So I always laugh and say, these days, if you wear like, really skinny jeans or tight jeans, it's okay. It's, that's not a big deal. Back in the 80s, it was definitely a shocker. So I always laugh and say, I think I was the true original trendsetter.
That's possible. That's very possible. Yeah. So earlier I was introducing you and talking about your company. You are the CEO of your company, Boardsi. I don't know if I missed the name or messed up the name already.
It's okay.
Well, can you tell me about the company and the awesome work that you do there? Yeah.
So like you said, Boardsi or Boardsi. Some people say tomato, some people say tomato. Either way, it's still the same company. So yeah, we basically have the ability, and this is part of my passion. I've always loved and enjoyed being a consultant and helping companies and seeing the change happen and the growth. It's been incredible, but obviously as one person, I can only do so much. So part of being passionate about Boardsi and being part of a co-founder of the me and my partners, part of the passion is so huge for me because it really spreads my love and my passion for helping businesses grow in a very rapid and a very big way. We blanket a huge spread because we work with so many different companies, and yet, we have this database of these amazing executives that we can just simply connect with these companies and these executives are, sometimes just a perfect match And then hearing back from the companies how they're thankful and so happy that this happened, they're experiencing the best growth, since the advisor came on board or the board member came on board, that just makes you feel good and you're doing the right thing. So that puts a smile on my face every morning, every time I wake up and, ready to attack the day and see how we can even improve the processes more on a daily basis, and kind of keeps my creativity going.
Yes. That's a wonderful, mission to have for a company. That's really great. That's why I think you're referred to as the corporate matchmaker, right? And
yes,
your book and your journal are also with this title. So what was the inspiration behind your book and the journal that comes with it?
Yeah. So obviously, we've been at this business for a few years now. We've learned a lot along the way. We've made our processes better. We have obviously, without reading and without doing, outside of all the reading that we've done and all the research that we've done, we actually have hands-on experience working with companies, working with executives, understanding how it all works. And it was just the right time to put it all on paper and write this book. And with the goal that, we're hoping that I'm hoping that this book gets picked up by both sides, not just the CEO of a company that's curious about how a board of advisors can help him, how building a board of directors can really help structure the company, whether it's a startup or a publicly traded company or a company somewhere in the middle. It's always good to build a team of success entrepreneurs or successful corporate people that have been there, have done that, and they can now guide you along the way. And it's just not for just those people, but it's also for the actual executive to give them a better understanding of making sure that their mission and vision and values line up with the company. We're trying to create long-term relationships, not a 2-month consulting job, but we're hoping that, if a company puts together a board of advisors, some of those board of advisors members will actually become board of directors and stay with the company till the end. So we're really trying to align a lot of different things. And the book is written for both sides. It's written for people that are looking to build a board, and it's written for the executives that are looking to be on the board. So I think it's it's an easy read, not over technical. It's just really explains the need for the executive and for the company to basically find an executive.
Yes. And I also find it very interesting for someone like me or someone out there who is looking forward to becoming an executive one day, or to be on the board of directors or advisor one day, to have an insight or have an understanding for the processes that takes place in a boardroom. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, that's great. But can you tell me about some of the challenges that surface when a perfect team is to be assembled in a company? What are some challenges that occur?
I mean, there's always challenges. Right now, the big challenge in US is, and of course, the government came down and they basically talk about diversity and the need for diversity on boards. And there are a lot of companies that are taking that serious, and they're actually going out there and looking and recruiting for diversity board members. And I talk about this in the book as well, but to me, it's a little bit of, sadness that it took the government to actually come down and say, hey, we're going to start fining you if you don't have diversity on your board. And then the companies are finally out there looking for diversity. And I think there's been a big miss, because diversity is actually a great thing, and it can be diversity at any level, whether it's race or sex. You can even have age diversity. You can have diversity of where a person came from and the experience they had. You have my experience, for example, right? Coming from a communist country, I'm going to look at a problem totally differently than somebody that's been raised with a lot of money and, or as they call it, a silver spoon, right? Yes. So different ideas, different concepts. And I think if you bring people together with a lot of diversity, you might get some pushback from one person or the other about the ideas or the strategy to grow a company. But I think at the end of the day, if everybody on the board is open-minded, if their mission and vision and values all line up, that pushback, that discussion that you're going to get is actually going to be a positive one, because you're going to end up bringing a bunch of different ideas and most likely come back with an idea that's a hybrid of it all. That's going to be doing great for the company.
Yes. And what's the best way for an individual to prepare his or herself, to take up a board or advisory position? Like, what am I supposed to do for myself to prepare myself for such an executive position?
Yeah. So one of the things that I think everybody needs to, be aware of, obviously, is there's the board of advisors and board of directors, right? So what you need to do is, if you're an executive, and if you're not an executive and you're leading towards wanting to be eventually a CEO or COO or some kind of a C-suite position, then obviously you got to follow those steps and get to that level. Now, once you get there, just like with getting promoted at a job, you got to excel. You got your experience, you got your expertise, and then you got your skill sets. And then that might depend on what industry you're in. But all those things combined together are very, very important. And I always say, you also have to have grit. You got it. You can't give up. So, but on top of all that, if you really want to excel and be on a board of directors, then you really got to go after some certification. And of course, most people, when they hear certification, and they've reached that level of, I'm an executive, I've been an executive for all these years, I don't want to go and education, because that's all people get, right? Certification means I got to go do education, and then I got to get a certification, and then I got to renew my certification. But it is necessary. Certification is basically proof of knowledge. It's a way. And if you want to be on a board, then there are many, many courses out there where you can get specific certifications. And that really just shows that you're dedicated to now taking that next step in your corporate life of being on a board, and you're serious about it because you actually went out and got the certification, and now you're ready to be on a board of directors. Board of advisors, obviously experience, expertise is a lot, very important. Certifications, not necessary. It can always help. But yeah, I would say definitely certification and continued education is definitely another step that anybody can take.
So one has to keep on learning, keep on growing.
Never stop.
Wow.
Never stop.
So I can't say, okay, I've gotten to this position in my job, I can now relax and learn no more and do nothing else.
Exactly. No, don't stop.
Wow.
Don't ever stop learning.
You as the CEO of Boardsi, you keep on learning too, and wow. And that's why you have to go for seminars also, like you said before we started recording.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's
absolutely.
So like from your book, you have like some some unique and some proven strategies that you cultivated for a functioning and effective boardroom from your own personal experience. You have 25 years of experience with this. Are there some of these strategies that you could share with us here from the book?
Well, I'd have to read the whole book.
Yeah.
No, there's I like I already mentioned, mission, vision, values. I covered that. We talk about diversity a lot. Mm-hmm. We kind of open up. Some people wonder, like, well, can I be on 20 different boards of companies? Because they heard this rumor that it's so easy to be on a board and you just get paid. Mm-hmm. And it's not. You have to bring value to that company being on a board, or else you shouldn't be on a board. And it does require a certain amount of time and dedication. So if you can't and you don't have the time, then you should definitely not be serving on a board. So I go over that in the book as well. Talk about the time dedication. Being on a board of advisors is a little bit less time and less dedication. But again, if you want to be a great advisor, then you gotta bring some time to the table. So if you're a busy executive and you're not retired yet and you're working overtime all the time, it might not be a great idea to be on a board if you can't really dedicate time and bring value into the company. But most executives, I would say, easily can serve, even if they're working full time, they can easily serve on at least one board of directors, probably a couple of different board of advisors. I consider myself pretty busy and productive with my company, and I'm sitting on 3 different company boards as an advisor. And one of the companies is just one quarterly meeting. Another company, I have a meeting once per month. So it's not, nothing I can't set time aside. But so it's doable. But again, if you can't make those meetings and it becomes consistent where you can't make those meetings, then you got to really reevaluate where you stand.
Yeah. So for that, one is to dedicate time and also enough knowledge. You have to have enough expertise in that field that you're providing advice on.
Yep, absolutely. Be an expert.
Yes. So So how can I prepare myself for a leadership position, for example? Like I'm a novice now, for example, and I want to prepare myself for that position. How can I prepare myself for a leadership position, and what can I do to be a good leader?
So one of the things that it's funny that you're asking me this, but just because I've been asked actually, like I think 4 times now, and it's not in interviews, it's just people that I know that are looking for help and looking for the next level of the leadership. My biggest suggestion is become self-taught. So don't just rely on education. I'm not quite sure if me going to college was really what gave me leadership skills. I remember, and this is long time ago, about 20. Okay, I'm going to age myself here, but about 25 years ago, so half of my life ago, I met an executive that I looked up to. I mean, he was very successful, and he was from the corporate world. I was not, but the knowledge that he gave me was in paper, books, just like I'm writing a book right now. And he handed me, I think it was like 5 different books. And of course, my first reaction was, great, more education. I got to read again. I've done so much reading in college. Now I got to start reading again. But I listened to him and I read the books, and I got hooked. I loved the books. And there were books written by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And I really feel from my personal experience, I feel like that's really where I grew as far as the leadership goes, is just from reading those books. And I didn't just read it one time. I read them again and again. Some of the books are falling apart. they're highlighted everywhere. But it wasn't just Napoleon Hill. Another great author that I picked up on was Og Mandino. Most people haven't heard of him. I think after reading a bunch of those different books from different authors, I really started seeing that there is a common niche, a common factor there. And one of the things that the first time that I, kind of learned about a board of advisors or board of directors or having that core group was actually in those books. Napoleon Hill calls it a mastermind group. And in other words, or today's words, it's board of advisors. That's your mastermind group. That's the group that you rely on for help when needed, or strategies when needed, or, day-to-day running your business. So I learned that a long time ago. And, when we really got going with this business was like, just right away reminding me of the mastermind group that he talks about all the time. But I would say, just again, don't ever stop learning. Pick up the books. There are many books that talk about leadership, and it's really, you just have to find it within you to find that character and that leadership character and really bring it out. Some people say I was not me, but some people say I was a born leader. That's what I was born to do. But I think as life moves on, you learn, whether it's from reading books or from experience or from working with other people, you learn the good ways to be a leader. You learn, oh man, I don't want to do that. When you see quote unquote bad leadership. I also, coached my kids soccer for 15 years. That gave me a lot of leadership, coachable, finding ways to coach kids, and it was from age group of 5 up until, my kids graduate high school at 18. And I'll tell you, coaching kids at 5 is very different than coaching a kid at 18. So, you definitely grow with your kids, and you meet different kids every year, and, different challenges of how do I coach this kid to do, XYZ, and that pours right into work. And I saw that happen too. So, the first time I was on a board of a sport, basically a sport. It was, I was on a board of a rugby team. So again, I didn't even realize what I was doing, that I was actually on the board, and it was nonprofit. So obviously I didn't get paid, but I got the experience. So I think getting your leadership, nonprofits are a great way to start. They're always looking for help. There's plenty of them out there. But yeah, you can definitely learn a lot, and just surround yourself with the right people.
So I have to surround myself with the right people. I have to keep on learning, keep on reading books. And
don't ever stop.
That's true. That's one thing I've learned from this episode already. Don't stop learning. Don't stop. No matter how high you've gotten in life, you keep on learning till the end of your days. Yeah. And also you have to gather experiences from people or from occasions. Like you said, you are doing some voluntary coaching or something, and you are able to get some.
You learn a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
From experiences. So I would love to tap some knowledge from your expertise in the field of recruiting. I know you also deal with recruiting also.
Yep.
Yes. So can you tell me some criteria that companies make use of to determine if a candidate is the right person for a job or a particular position in a company?
Yeah. So it's a little, obviously, in our recruiting side, it's a little bit different than, hiring somebody for a full-time job. So they look a little bit differently at a person, and they're very focused on the skill set. Sometimes it could be industry specific. Sometimes that is really important. A lot of times it's very, very, like, for example, when we work with a pharmaceutical company, obviously they are in need of a board member that has pharmaceutical experience. That's like super important. But sometimes the industries can actually cross over. So really depending on who they're looking for, and when we're doing our matching, we bring as many candidates as we can just to give them options. But I think a lot of the companies basically really look and make sure that this advisor or board member can actually be in sync with their current board. And that's very important. You don't want to bring somebody on just because, they might have the greatest experience and expertise and they might look great on paper. But if they're coming in and maybe their ego is just big and they just over talk everybody, and, they kind of want to stand out and be like, no, my idea is the greatest idea ever. You have to do it this way. That's most likely not a person that would work with a team, because this is a team effort. We're bringing on people to a board. We're not bringing on a new CEO that's going to run the company. So this is not a management position. This is a leadership position. And as a leader, you need to take a step back and reevaluate and understand that there's a whole team of these types of leaders. So I think they interview slightly differently and look for certain things. And sometimes it can be very specific. They're looking for a very specific candidate that maybe it's a person that that needs to open up doors and lead them to funding. So they're going to look at that person and be like, okay, what does your network look like, and who can you introduce us to? So it is a little bit different than hiring for a full-time position.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So one has to, like, there are different things that the companies look at in order to pick someone for a position.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'd love to go back to your book one more time. You have the book, which is good for for people who want to create a robust boardroom. But then it also comes with a journal. What's the purpose of the journal that comes with the book?
Journal. So basically, as I cover each chapter, at the end of each chapter, we throw some ideas and some questions. And the purpose of the journal is to write those ideas and questions down and really get the reader engaged in actually partaking. So if you're looking at building a board, I'm hoping that creates the ideas of who the candidate is. What kind of a person do I want to bring on board? And on the flip side, if you're an executive that's looking to build a board, to join a board, then hopefully all the questions and all the things you're going to be writing down in the journal as you're learning are going to bring forth the type of company you want to join. What kind of a mission does the company have to have for me to really want to join them and partake in that mission? What's their vision? What are their values? And do they match up with my values? So it's just basically to get people to read, question some of those things, write them down, and hopefully at the end of it, really figure out what they need to do next.
That's awesome. That's great. So one can always have some, work to do while reading the book also. Yes.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's great.
And if you don't have any ideas, then you can draw in it.
But it doesn't come with like some coloring book or some crayons and stuff.
Maybe I should put something in there for their kids to color.
So you are the co-founder and CEO of Boardsi, and I would love to know from your experience, in this business, what are like some do's and don'ts that you could share with me and with the listeners out there who want to start a business or run an organization or employ people, or the whole stretch of business or be successful generally in the market. What are some tips?
Yeah, so some of the things I would say, if you're looking to start a business, have a plan. I mean, don't just go on a whim and start a business, but really draw it out. Is this going to be a business that you can sustain and you can bootstrap, you can fund it yourself until it starts making money? Or is this going to be a business where you're going to have to go out and get funding? Is it a business that you want to bring partners into? And if so, who are the partners? Those are the top level questions that you got to ask yourself before you even start the business. Once you have the plan drawn out and you've decided whether you need partners or whether you need funding, then you obviously need to make the next steps. I would highly recommend some of those steps would be, especially if you don't have any partners, is start thinking about maybe reaching out and building your board of advisors. Bring a couple of people on, get some advice. If you know anybody that's an executive, maybe you can just have a meeting with them just to really guide you along. But that would be my beginning of a business, is really figure out, if you're bootstrapping, how long can you sustain it before you make money? If you're not bootstrapping, how are you going to get the money? So, and what are you willing to give up? What percentage of your company are you willing to give up for raising the funding? And then if it's some kind of technology or some kind of a product, make sure you get a patent.
It's important.
Yes.
Yeah. Else you won't be able to make profit from it. Yeah, if it becomes successful. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. So I know we could get the book on your website, and which is corporatematchmakerbook.com. But are there other ways one could buy the book or order for the book and get it delivered?
Yeah, so that's one place. Once the book is, you can pre-buy the book there. Once the book is published, it will be on Amazon.com. Okay. It will be on Walmart, and Barnes and Noble. So it will be in major stores as well. So
yes. So when should we be expecting it so that we could pick a copy?
I am hoping it's going to print end of July, and it should be ready for distribution in August.
In August. Oh, awesome. So we'll be looking forward to the book at the end of August. And for now, everyone could go to corporatematchmakerbook.com to pre-order the book already and, have it secured already. The book and the journal together. I think it costs awesome. $40, the combination. Yep. Yes, that'll be great. So people out there who are, still inquisitive or who still have a lot of questions to ask and would love to, work with you, maybe get some counseling from you or get some words of wisdom from you, what's the best way of connecting with you or working with you?
I would say the best way that I find communicating is actually on LinkedIn. If I fall behind, my apologies. But yeah, I think connecting and sending me a message on LinkedIn is definitely the most direct way to do it. And I'm easy to find, especially on LinkedIn, just Martin Rowinski. Yeah. And I will pop up wearing a blue suit in the picture, just in case there's another Martin.
To make it easy, I'm going to place the link to your LinkedIn profile, awesome. Show notes for this episode, also to corporatematchmakerbook.com, also in the show notes awesome. Of this episode. So it makes it easier for you to just copy the link or click on the link and get connected with Martin.
That'd be great. Thank you.
As a closing remark, is there anything you would love to tell me or tell the listeners out there, who wants to become successful like you are? Are there some tips that I've not asked you or we've not talked about?
I want to say, keep smiling. you have great energy, good smile. You're positive. Don't stop that. Pick up those books and don't stop learning. But yeah, be positive, be outgoing, and uplift people. I would say maybe actually that's the last thing I can end with. The old saying, what goes around comes around.
Yes.
And I just feel like, things have happened in my life, and I talk about them in the book. I won't bring it up here, but you get beat down, negative things will happen to you. Mm-hmm. But also good things happen to you. And I think that's part of life. And in a way, for me, that's what makes life great, right? If you just had good things happen to you all the time, you wouldn't even know it's good. It would just be, that's it. Yeah. So for me, because, life does have bad things that happen to you, you appreciate the good times that much more and enjoy the good times. But no matter what's going on in your life, I always remind myself that somebody out there, might be in a worse position than you are. Even at my worst, I was like, you know what? There's probably somebody out there that needs more help than I even do right now. Mm-hmm. And that's why no matter how bad, things got, or how tough things got, or how, some personal things that might happen in your life, just love on everybody, smile, uplift people, make them happy. And I think when that's passed around by you, it will come back to you tenfold. And when you do have those moments in life where you're struggling, whatever it may be, people will gather and they will uplift you back. So I would just, I don't want to be that guy that's on stage and says, peace, love. I just want to love the world. But love the world, love the people. And it will all come back around. That's what life's all about.
That's true. Thank you so much, Martin. I really appreciate everything I've been able to learn from you. And I'm encouraging everyone out there to pick up the book and read it, pre-order it already, and wait maybe till August, till when it's available on Amazon and other platforms too. Awesome. It's a good read. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, you made it to the very end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm grateful for your time, your love, and your contributions. Subscribe, like, review, and share this podcast. God bless you. Bye.